All right, so this week is pretty big for PlayStation fans. There's a lot of stuff coming our way, from The Last of Us Day to Japan having its own kind of conference for games. And now Sony has just announced that they are doing a state of play tomorrow. And I actually think this is going to be really big for Sony. I think for multiple reasons, this needs to be big. I think they want to address a lot of the problems people have been having with the PS5, and that is the lack of games. And I think we are going to see a ton. Of course, you're going to get your third parties, but let's be honest, I'm a PlayStation channel. I don't really care about the third parties. For the most part, I care about those exclusives. And so I wanted to dive into my predictions of what I think we will see tomorrow at the State of Play. So let's dive into it. First off, I think we're going to see Wolverine. They teased this game several years ago now, and I think that it's time for us to finally get a glimpse. We know that they were getting close to the finishing touches on this game, that they're pretty far in development from the leaks that did sadly happen. And I think that now that Spider-Man 2 is kind of out of the way, I think Insomniac is going to set its eyes to selling us this Wolverine game. I also think, especially with Deadpool and Wolverine just releasing, I think it's a perfect time for them to begin heavily advertising this game and giving us a release date. And so I think for sure, I think we're going to see Wolverine. I would be shocked if we didn't. I highly think that Wolverine will be appearing in this State of Play. In addition to that, because this is taking place in Japan, I think we're especially going to see an extra little glimpse at Death Stranding. Now, Death Stranding was one of my favorite titles. I know that it was kind of hit or miss. Either you really loved it or you didn't really love it. You were like, it's just a walking simulator. But I think the vast majority of people really enjoyed what was brought to the table with Death Stranding and been looking forward to Death Stranding 2. Of course, we got a long glimpse at it with a really long trailer, but I think we're going to see some gameplay, some more pieces, especially because, again, this is taking place in Japan. I know that Kojima has said that he really loves to support his titles in Japan, so I'd be shocked if we don't get some kind of a glimpse at Death Stranding 2. I imagine that we will, and so I expect us to see a little bit there. Along with this, there's been rumors that Days Gone is getting a remaster for PS5, essentially Sony deciding to give this franchise another chance and see what happens. It's been rumored for quite a while that they've been remastering it, preparing that game to go on PS5 for it to function better, have some improvements to life. And so I wouldn't be shocked if we get a little glimpse at that. The Ben Studios has been pretty quiet for quite a while. And so I expect and would anticipate that we'll probably get a glimpse at that remaster here, which for some people may be exciting. For others, it could be disappointing. The rumor is that there's a lot of remasters that are going to be announced in this State of Play. How true that rumor is, I don't know. I know that if that is the case, that lots of people will be annoyed, just because I feel like people are getting annoyed over the constant remasters and the lack of games. But how I think you do that well if you're Sony is people would be really excited for a Days Gone remaster. And I think that if you were to put that in there amongst all of the other new like first party games that are going to be releasing, that people would be more excited. So I think we have a good chance of possibly seeing a glimpse at that Days Gone remaster. And then of course, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man is huge in Japan, and I think all of us predict that there will be DLC. I think along with that Wolverine update, it makes a ton of sense for them to announce the DLC for Spider-Man 2. I imagine it will be the Chameleon, as he was teased in Spider-Man 2, and Carnage, as he was also teased in Spider-Man 2, and that will kind of keep the symbiote saga together in one game along with Kraven, because they've now made Chameleon essentially Kraven's brother. And so I think that we will be seeing that happen. Probably, I'm not sure. I imagine that Peter will be going up against Carnage and Miles might be the one going against Chameleon, but you never know. But I would be shocked if we don't get some Spider-Man 2 DLC in this thing. It feels like that game's been given room to breathe. They've had time to work on it, and now more will be releasing. Along with that, the voice actors have kind of leaked that they've done more motion capture and things for that game, and so we know that something's in the work at the very least. Even I could imagine at the end of that Carnage DLC, Harry waking up from his coma, because of course we know that there's a Venom game being worked on, and so I imagine we'll see that at the State of Play. And then lastly, and this is my big like swinging for the fences prediction, I think we're going to get a glimpse of The Last of Us Part 3. Now, it might just be a teaser, it might be a little bit more, it might be an actual trailer, but I think we're going to get a glimpse of The Last of Us Part 3 for multiple reasons. One, Naughty Dog as a company were fully into the Factions 2. Now that that's done, they essentially going to move their marketing to either that original IP or The Last of Us Part 3. That we know that both of those things are in the works, and so I imagine that now they can move into the marketing for that, now that Factions 2 has unfortunately been canceled. Along with that, my point number 2 as to why I think this will be is Naughty Dog really needs a win. There's a lot of pressure on them right now because of the cancellation of Factions 2, not having a game since 2020, aside from remasters, which we know that all of those remasters are the way that they train their new employees on how to work in their system, is they get them to remaster their games. So people who are upset about remasters, I'm like, guys, you don't get how Naughty Dog works with these. It's not that Naughty Dog is pouring all of their employees into making remasters. They literally just give it to the new guys so that they can learn how to work inside the Naughty Dog system. But I think Naughty Dog wants a win here, that they want to give Last of Us fans something to be excited about, which brings me to my third reason as to why The Last of Us Day is this week. I think that I initially thought that they might tease Part 3 on Last of Us Day, but then with them announcing this just before, I'm like, oh, the odds to me of a Last of Us Part 3 being announced officially, because they've teased at it, but they've never officially said, it's happening, here's a little glimpse, here's the release date. I think it's for sure. I would actually be shocked if Part 3 isn't announced at this State of Play. I just think the timing is too coincidental. And then they can talk about it a little bit more with Last of Us Day. But I think for sure Part 3 is going to be announced because they want to ride that wave of Season 2 coming, get the hype going. They want to get the monkey off their backs of people saying they're not developing anything and give people a little glimpse, something to be excited about. Along with that, they need to push out this last game, in my opinion, before the new IP, because they want to keep that show going, and this is going to be the conclusion to Ellie's story. And so I think that they're probably going to release this game just before season 4 or 5 of the show would start filming. So we're imagining probably a 2026, a 2027 release date. That would not be shocking to me, and it'll probably be something that is remastered for the PS6. So their games usually come at the end of the PlayStation's life cycle, and judging by the last time they announced Part 2, it seems like it would make logical sense that if it is going to have that 2027 release date, and it is going to line up with the show coming to the conclusion of the Part 2 and kind of going through that material, that will be the release date. And so I think we are going to see a glimpse at Part 3. I don't think they've been teasing it and hinting at it for this previous year for no reason, and I don't think that them doing the State of Play on the exact same week of The Last of Us Day is a coincidence. I think we're going to see it. But with that being said, those are my predictions of the things I feel like we'll probably be seeing at the State of Play. I want to know what you guys think, though. Head in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts as to the things that you think I maybe missed, things that you think I got totally wrong and there's no way we're going to see that, and things that you're excited for, hopeful for, the things that you're hoping to come out of this State of Play. Sony announced that it's going to be big, that they're going to have a lot of games to announce and show off, and so for me, that's incredibly exciting. It's going to be a full 30-minute presentation, which means it's a big one, so I'm really looking forward to it, especially because they got the PS5 Pro stuff out of the way. I don't think they're going to focus on that at all, which means that we're going to get some games finally. But let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, all that junk, and I will see you guys in the next one.